Hello there, I'm Ben Woodruff, and I'm here today with Kai, the great horned owl. Now, we're up here in the mountains, in the snow, here in North America, and the reason we're here is to talk about parrots, of all things. Now, why am I in the snow with an owl to talk about parrots? Well, an owl is something you've all heard of. Great horned owls are very common in the United States and Canada and Mexico, and they're built to handle the cold. They're fluffy, they have feathers on their toes, everything about them is perfect for handling the snow. But few people realize that in the United States, we used to have a parrot that lived year-round, even in snowy regions. It's called the Carolina Parakeet. It's a recent extinction, and we're going to learn about it today and find out whether we may have them here in the United States again.
Throughout the world, there are a few species of cold weather parrots, like the key, which lives in the snow-covered mountains of New Zealand. And sometimes non-native species of parrot, such as these Quaker parakeets in New York, have learned to adapt to colder climates and occasional snow flurries. The United States does still have one native species of parrot, the thick-billed parrot. This is basically a Mexican species that needs tropical or warm temperatures. They have small populations in Arizona and New Mexico, but their numbers in the wild are down. There's been efforts to reintroduce captive bred individuals back into the wild. Unfortunately, these efforts have not been very successful. The United States has an ancient history of bringing in non-native parrots. The Chaco Empire in New Mexico traded back and forth with the Aztec Empire in Mexico. Among the ruins, archaeologists found an aviary where live blue and gold macaws were kept. These parrots had been traded from the Aztecs in Mexico. They were kept alive, and every year their feathers would molt, providing a constant supply of beautiful, bright feathers for the Chacoans. But America once had a parrot species that was truly native to these northern lands. It was called the Carolina Parakeet. The year-round range of the Carolina Parakeet was impressive, with flocks even being seen in southern Canada. The brightly colored parrot nested in hollow trees and laid 2 eggs. Occasionally they were kept as pets. This is a rare photo of a Carolina parakeet named Doodles, owned by Paul Barch. Unfortunately, their bright colors drew the attention of hunters, and although they were not cooked and eaten, their feathers were highly valued for use on women's hats. In the early 1900s, it was a huge fashion trend for women to wear bright bird feathers or even entire bird skins in their hats. One of the reasons why Carolina parakeets were more heavily harmed by this hunting than other species is because of an odd social habit. It's reported that when one of them were shot, rather than flying away, the rest of the flock would land on the ground near it and flutter about, they themselves becoming easy targets. We don't know all the factors that caused their extinction, but hunting was definitely a major role. By 1918, the last Carolina parakeet in captivity had died, and by 1939, the American Ornithologist Union had officially declared them extinct. There were still reported sightings of Carolina parakeets in the wild up through the 1930s and 1940s, but none of them were verifiable. Currently, there are 720 steady skins and taxidermy specimens and 16 skeletons in museums throughout the world. From these, analyzable DNA has been recovered, and there is a possibility that this species could be cloned. An interesting trait of the Carolina parakeet is that it was poisonous. It regularly ate the poison seeds of the cocklebur, and in doing so retained the poison itself. It was reported that cats that killed and ate Carolina parakeets died within a few hours of doing so. The name Carolina parakeet is a little misleading as they're not parakeets. DNA evidence has shown that they're actually members of the conure family, and their closest living relatives are the sun conure and the Genday conure. I wanted to visit a sun conure in person to get a sense of the personality of these birds and what it would have been like to see a live Carolina parakeet in person.
Hi, I'm Haley, and this is Ray. She's a sun conure, and she has a lot of personality. Touch you with your hand.
Watching Haley interact with her sun conure Ray really helped me have a better understanding of the Carolina parakeet. Ray wanted to constantly play with, cuddle, and climb on top of Haley. Ray was mischievous, funny, full of life, and always wanting to be as high as she could be. Seeing the two interact reminded me so much of that black and white photo of Doodles, the Carolina Parakeet, climbing all over and playing with Paul Barch. Her sun conures seemed so much like a Carolina parakeet, but sun conures and gendite conures are from South America. They need tropical weather. As we visited, there was wind and snow howling outside of the house, and I thought how Ray the sun conure could not handle this temperature. I'm astonished that Heartland America used to have flocks of parrots just like this that lived here year-round in great numbers and could survive our harsh winters. It's a tragedy that we don't have them anymore. Our understanding of DNA is always advancing. We have DNA from steady skins of recent extinctions like the great auk and the passenger pigeon and the Carolina parakeet. It is possible that within the next 50 to 100 years that they could clone Carolina parakeets and we could see flocks of this beautiful bird once again roaming in the United States. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn more about wildlife, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.